Hey guys, Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. We're going to be doing a quick video on finasteride and hair loss and the side effects that may come of it and what you can do to help improve hair growth with some of these medications. Before we do, if you're enjoying the content and it's benefiting you and helping you, please feel free and share with family and friends and give me a thumbs up as well and put your comments down below. All right, so let's dive in. So hair loss is a big buzz, especially with a lot of this post-viral issues that are going on here today in this world. So I always kind of draw a line. We have kind of telogen effluvium type of hair loss, which is kind of systemic hair loss all across the head. Very common in women, very common in people with post-viral illnesses. This is going to be more of a telogen effluvium based hair loss where stress, surgery, lots of emotional stress, post viral issues that can create hair loss. And a lot of times that can resolve within 3 to 6 months just by managing stress, good diet, good eating, good nutrition. And that tends to resolve on its own. And obviously, the healthier you become, the more nutrition you have dialed in with good fats and proteins and building blocks to help with that keratin and antioxidant support to help with oxidative stress can help. On the other side of the equation, we have androgenic alopecia or male pattern baldness. Females can get this, but much less because the DHT hormone, that's dihydrotestosterone, is going to be a building block or come downstream from testosterone. And so men have more testosterone, therefore they're going to have more DHT issues. And the issue with DHT is there's going to be different genetic sensitivities to it. So we have DHT that's in our serum, in our blood, and you can do a DHT test. I think the range for that is like 15 maybe to like 60, right in that area, upper 50s. Mine's right around 20, 25, right? You can have normal DHT in the serum and still have issues with DHT at the scalp because that's a genetic issue. But it's always good to look at your serum DHT because that gives you a window. If it's high on the DHT side, serum-wise, then you know it's definitely a problem. And that's helpful. It kind of gives you a good first step. So DHT can impact the hair follicle, a couple things. It's going to shorten the telogen phase. So it's going to shorten the length of that hair is in resting phase. And it's also going to decrease the anagen. Anagen is the growth. So you have a shorter resting phase and then you have a shorter growth phase. And so then over time, that follicle starts to shrink. When you mitigate DHT, you pull DHT out or you at least reduce it 30, 40, 50, 60%, you start to see a longer telogen phase, a longer resting phase, and a longer growth phase. And of course, out of the gates, when you're on things that kind of start to block DHT, there is a shedding in the first couple of months because you're starting to synchronize hair shedding cycles. Because normally hair is kind of all at different timing. And when you start blocking DHT, you start to synchronize the cycles more. So you have more hair falling out at the same time. That's a common side effect. And that's a common reason why men or even women may not see that therapy through. Is just the increase in shedding, thinking, hey, it's not working for me, right? So the DHT, that's the component there. Now, when you're dealing with hair loss, there's a lot of potential mechanisms in why your hair may be falling out. Just having poor nutrition, junky fats, inflammation, cortisol issues, not having good, healthy building blocks for the hair, that can all impact it. Yes, you can have DHT problems or DHT genetic sensitivities, but if someone's eating pure McDonald's and junk, like we're talking the same predisposition, right? Genetically the same. You're eating junk and McDonald's and really junky fats and lots of processed foods versus someone that's anti-inflammatory, nutrient dense, good healthy fats, good proteins, good building blocks, good collagen. You're going to do better. I've clinically seen that. Obviously, there's not a lot of studies with that. Most of what I do is going to be what I see empirically with my patients, but you see an improvement because if you're less inflamed, less oxidative stress, better blood flow, less free radical species, that everything's going to grow better. Hair, skin, nails, joints, connective tissue, less pain. I mean, I see this all the time in my practice clinically. And so I don't need a study to even tell me that. Now, okay, so some people still genetically have issues where that still may not be enough to get them over the top. So, I mean, topically, there's things that we can do. There's growth stimulators like Rogaine/minoxidil, which is going to help provide growth and blood flow and stimulation. I think if you do a minoxidil, having a better diet and all the nutrients there is going to help because that's going to vasodilate and flood more nutrition to the scalp. So that's one option. The other option is blocking DHT. That could be another option. Again, you have systemic and topical routes. And the other is going to be supporting antioxidants. This could be taking extra vitamin C. This could be supporting oxidative stress with NAC, N-acetylcysteine. There's some studies comparing NAC now to minoxidil and it being equal, if not better. So there's some of these components. There's also red light therapy, light frequencies that stimulate mitochondria, increase blood flow that can be helpful, and that also decrease the help to get hairs out of that resting phase. 10 to 20% of your hairs are in a resting phase. And if you can pull them out of a resting phase into a growth phase, that can be very, very helpful. And so when you look at DHT, that's the major hormone most people talk about. There's things you can do. There's different nutrients that you can do that are going to be less efficacious, less data, less research behind it. Again, Merck owns the patent on finasteride. You're going to get lots and lots and lots of studies on these things. You're not going to get it on the cheaper things, onion oil, copper peptides. Topical saw palmetto, right? Ideally with saw palmetto, the problem with saw palmetto, it does work. There are studies on it reducing BPH, benign prostatic hypertrophy. I'll pull up one study here, right? I'll pull it up here. This is one study on double blind looking at saw palmetto in benign prostatic hyperplasia. This is a condition where there's systemic high levels of DHT, and that's causing the prostate cells to grow. And this study here showed a significant improvement with the beta sterol from the saw palmetto. The problem with saw palmetto, it's not standardized. You can get junky extract of saw palmetto, or you can get a CO2 fatty acid critical extract, 85%, super high quality. So the problem with a lot of the studies is the quality control is not the same. And so the fatty acids and the beta sterol and the active components matter. And so I do like a little bit of saw palmetto for hair loss. I think it can be helpful. I also have seen it work in benign prostatic hypertrophy, which means there is some mechanism where it's blocking DHT. The question it becomes now is the quality. So I like saw palmetto oil. You can do it topically. You can also take it orally. I take a little bit orally just for my own health. Also, there's some data showing that saw palmetto, and when you block DHT, you can increase testosterone 15 to 20%, because if you're blocking DHT, you're damming that downstream testosterone so it can accumulate upstream. Now, the problem is if you already have higher levels of testosterone, what happens? It can start to aromatize and go to estrogen. That's part of the reason why some guys who have gynecomastia from blocking DHT, it's going downstream to estrogen. So if you're going to do things like this, you should look at testosterone, free total DHT, and you should look at your estradiol and or your total estrogens. You should look at these pathways, and that way you can monitor it. Now, out of the gate, there's lots and lots of problems with finasteride in regards to let me pull up a study here. There's definitely sexual side effects, right? There's different things, lower libido, erectile dysfunction, brain fog, mood issues. You can go through the study here and just kind of a couple things with sexual side effects. Again, the side effects tend to be on the two, so you can see right here. Ejaculation, 2.1 to 7, erection, 4 to 15, libido, 3.1 to 5.4. The problem with a lot of these studies, there is such thing as nocebo. There is definitely probably about a 2 to 3% chance of side effects on finasteride. Again, the problem with a lot of people online and such is there is such thing as a nocebo. So placebo is I say, hey, here's this thing that's going to help you. Here are the benefits, right? You may or may not get it. And 20% of the time, you're going to have an improvement whether or not you got the actual compound, right? I mean, you may have gotten a saline pill and you still get the benefit. Well, the exact opposite exists with a nocebo. A nocebo is, hey, here's this thing. It may help with this, but here are the side effects, and I'm going to counsel you on the side effects, right? And the data shows that if I counsel you on the side effects and then I give you that thing, and it's not even that, it's an inert substance, your chance of reporting side effects goes 300 to 400% up, and that's a real thing. So you have to look at that. You have to understand that and know it, and that's why you have to compare it. Now, why would someone have side effects? I mentioned the estrogen. That component. Also, DHT is important for allopregnanolone, which can help with some of the neurosteroids and neurological health. So most of the problems with DHT is when you start to have a massive systemic reduction on it. That's why I'm not a big fan of blocking things systemically. You may have a little bit of blockage with saw palmetto, but with saw palmetto, it's at least a fatty acid. There's nutrition, there's vitamin E, and things that are natural tend to have less side effects. Now, I find people that are super, super DHT sensitive, right? Saw palmetto may even be enough to do that for you. It may even be enough. So if you're going to work on blocking DHT, I highly recommend doing it topically. Let's kind of talk about some of the topical things. This is one study back in 1999. I want to pull up here just to see so you guys can see it. It's a study that's been out in the online world for a while. So they're looking at serum DHT. They're talking about right here. So here we go. They're talking about 3 dosages, right? They're talking about 0.01 milligrams, 0.05 milligrams, 0.2 milligrams. 1 milligram is the standard dose for like a finasteride. And then 5 milligrams. This is like your Prosguard. This is what you take with prostate issues, right? And so you have 0.01, 0.05, 0.2, 1, and then 5. And if you look at this here out of the gates, they saw Serum DHT levels significantly decrease 49.5% with the 0.05 milligrams, 68.6% with the 0.2, 71.4 with the 1, and then 72.2 with the 5. So you can see going from 1 to 5, there really wasn't much of a jump. And then even this 68.6 with the 0.2 milligrams, I mean, that's phenomenal. And then you can even see the 0.05. I mean, look at that, 68.6. So you don't need a lot of these things, right? So what does that mean? So if we go look at it, this is a great website, perfecthairhealth.com. It's excellent, but they have a really great graph down here that I want to show you all. See if I can find it. But they're looking at the blockage of DHT right here. So you have the 0.01, not a lot. Now, once you go to 0.05, 50, 0.02 or 0.2. So the ideal dose is probably going to be as a starting point. Most people should probably start around 0.1 milligrams. 0.1 to 0.2 is a great starting point. I think it's excellent. Now, the difference is, if I can find it here, you have very, very low levels of reduction of systemic DHT. This is awesome here. So if you look at this here, if you look at the levels of systemic DHT, your serum DHT is minus 70, minus 48, and then we're talking milligrams, minus 44. So you can see once you go down to 0.2, you only have like a 20%. And so you could theorize at a 0.1, you're probably only at about a 10% up to 20% reduction on DHT, where compared, you're 3 to 4 times less leakage and less reduction in that serum DHT. And not to mention, when you look at a lot of finasteride medications, they build up in the system. So a lot of people can actually get by doing a finasteride maybe every other day and doing a topical. And there's liposomal formulas out there that have 80 to 90% less leakage than your typical topical that may be alcohol-based or triclosan-based, right? So this is good. So if you're going to use a finasteride, you want to look at the data. You want to try to have, how can I have 3 to 4 times less reduction on my serum DHT? Okay, great. And then what's the optimal dose? Because if I take that dose and I still get 80% of the DHT benefit by taking 4 to 5 times less dosage, maybe even 6, maybe even 10, and I use formulations that are going to allow it to not go downstream and have this leakage, then now you have a win-win, right? So just kind of think about that. So number one, if you're wanting to bring in some kind of a DHT blocker, let's say you're looking at herbals, great. You're looking at topical things like saw palmetto, pumpkin seed oil, great. Let's say you're needing to up it a little bit because hair loss is happening too fast. This is where you'd pull out something that's more topical. You get a clinician that can prescribe it to you from a compounding pharmacy at a lower dose. And the problem with a lot of the marketing out there, they use these percentages. So it's really hard to understand. I hate the percentages. I like talking in milligrams. You have to move the decimal place to the, what is it? You have to move the decimal place to the right one time to make it equal. So if you see on lines like Keeps and Hims, you'll see 0.25%. What's 0.25%? Well, usually the serving size is 1 milliliter. Let's say it's per 1 milliliter, right? 0.25% is actually 2.5 milligrams. That's the serving size. Or what if it's 0.1%? That's 1 milligram, right? So you move the decimal place to the right. And so utilizing something at 0.025 or 0.01, that's the 1 milligram or the 0.25 milligrams. So just if you're comparing percentages to milligrams, this is like, it's hung me up when I had lots of guys coming in and contacting me. I'd confuse the percents and the milligrams. I like going right to the actual dosage so I know what the actual compound you're putting is, how much of that is. So if we do it, topical's better. Now, you can definitely do microneedling as well. Microneedling can be helpful because it creates little channels where you can get nutrition, topical oils, nutrients into the scalp deeper. You also stimulate blood flow, angiogenesis, and you stimulate stem cell production. So there's actually benefits outside of just even doing finasteride by itself. You can do it on your face, your hair, your scalp. Again, for the scalp, about 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters is going to be fine. And just kind of, you can take it and just stamp it. I'll do a video one day, but just take it. And so if I were to do it with my hairline, I would just take it like this, press, hold, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, pick it up, move it, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. And I just pick it up and move it. And if your hair is if you get out of the shower and your hair's wet, you can kind of just part it a little bit. And then you could even just do little concentric circles and then just kind of trace the hairline a little bit. And then, so for me, I would also come in and I would hit right here, I just topically hit along the hairline and then down and then along the hairline and then down. And I could even do it like here if I want to thicken my sideburns a little bit. And if I'm growing some facial hair, I can even go along the face. Or if I'm trying to do anti-aging stuff, I can go along the eyes and then the crow's feet here and then work on the wrinkles up here. So you can do that to stimulate blood flow and stimulate stem cell production. So we have topical things, right? Saw palmetto, we have onion seed oil, or onion oil. And then we have, make sure the saw palmetto is really good, high quality CO2 extract, cold press. We don't want to damage the fats. And if we do a finasteride, we want to choose lower doses. My general recommendation is 0.1 milligrams to 0.2 milligrams. And I recommend it every other day. The half-life of finasteride is about 6 to 8 hours. The problem is the binding capacity is 4 to 5 days. So you may want to think about coming in from a loading period, maybe for a few weeks, maybe a month, and then go every other day. Most people are going to get side effects because their doses are higher. They're taking something oral that has systemic effects, and they're doing it every day. That's the problem. And then it builds up. So you're much better off do it topical, do a liposomal formulation that stays in the scalp mostly, do it every other day, and choose a lower dose. And if you need to go every day, well, at least start with a lower dose and then work your way up. That's a better way to do it. So see a lot of guys out there, even some women that need these type of options. And I want to make sure that you're aware, hey, there is a right and a wrong way to do it. This is the best way to do it. I see so many posts on Reddit where so many guys are complaining of all these symptoms. My first recommendation is if you have hair loss concerns, get healthy first. Get your gut fixed, get your hormones fixed, get your cortisol in check, get collagen and good nutrients and good protein and good digestion and good sleep. That makes a huge difference. And then once you're there, then you can look at adding additional topical support, microneedling, massage. You could always do some Rogaine and minoxidil. Just try to choose one that has a good, clean filler, doesn't have all the propylene glycol and all the junk. And then you could always do a finasteride. Look at doing something more on the topical first. Again, there's some people that if you want to do a pill, just come in there, maybe 0.25 milligrams and do it every other day. Start there if you want to do a conventional pill, right? That's maybe a good option. Again, I'm just a talking head on the internet here. So talk to your doctor, review it with them. Again, I looked at the research because I deal with patients that ask these questions all the time. So I have to be educated for myself and for my patients. So these are the things that patients ask me a lot of, and I want you guys to be aware of it. If you want to reach out to a practitioner like myself that dives in and gets to the root, understands the conventional as well as the natural functional medicine options, there'll be a link down below where you can reach out and dial in and get more customized support to get to the root cause of your health. But there's a lot of options out there for guys, and there's no reason why you have to just give up, right? So there's no reason. A lot of good options. And for women as well, a lot of times women will see this more kind of in the menopausal time frame. As the hormones and estrogen and progesterone drop, there can be some issues there. And you really got to get the hormones back, got to get the gut under control. If there's a lot of chronic stress and chronic cortisol, you have to get that under control because that's very catabolic and can really start to cause the tissue in the body to break down, skin, hair, nails, etc. So hope you all enjoyed this video today. If you did, comments down below and let me know what you thought. Have a good one, y'all.